Well, good evening, everybody. Today I have a couple of special guests with me. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Mr. Alan Crane, the new principal of Grace Snell Middle School, and might I add, the proud principal of Grace Snell Middle School. Well, you're not going to believe who I have here with me today. These are as close to you can get as blood relatives without being the person themselves. I have the son of Grace Annette Brooks Snell and the grandson of Mrs. Snell, Joe Snell Jr. and Joe Snell III. Tell us what you remember most about your mother as a teacher, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom.
Well, one thing I remember is she loved everybody. She loved her students, and she made sure that they, respected everybody, and that she, well, back then you could have time for prayer and Bible story.
All right.
And she would put that in there and make sure they got that in there.
And I've heard about that. I heard one of her favorite things to do was to challenge her students and family to be able to name all the books in the Bible. And I heard that from some others that I have spoken to about her. So that is outstanding, and that's what we want to permeate in this building, is that be respectful of everybody and to show respect for everybody that comes through our doors.
That definitely was her. She wanted everybody to have due respect.
She was all about education and studying. And she'd help me with my homework. And she was retired by the time I came along. And she'd help me with my homework, and she'd call me Little Joe, and she was my mama. And she said, I can't pour it in your head. You've got to study. And she was about studying, and you work hard, and about getting an education. And she loved everybody, and everybody loved her. She loved all of her kids were her kids, no matter if it was her family or if it was her students.
And your mother and your grandmother spent a lot of time educating young people and working and being a servant to young people. Speak of the passion that she had for that. And I'll open that to either one.
Well, she had a passion for people. And she was also a volunteer with the Red Cross. So she spent a lot of time in the school, in the church, and as a volunteer with the Red Cross, helping people in whatever they needed. I can remember people would be hitchhiking through downtown Snell, and her bringing them off the streets and not knowing who they were, and feeding them, and talking to them, and sending them on their way on numerous occasions. So she was, she never met a stranger.
If she knew of anybody having any problem too, she would be there, the first one there, if she could get there. And Mother never did drive, but people would make sure that Miss Grace got there because they knew where she wanted to be. And she would be there and do all she could do for them.
Affectionately known as Miss Grace.
She was Miss Grace to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and I'm going to just ask a couple of more questions. As you reflect and you just think back and you think about, I mean, it is a momentous and I know a great feeling to have a school named after your family and to be the children and grandchildren of this legacy, which is Grace Snell Middle School. What would you want, if in your wildest dreams, what would you want Grace Snell Middle School to be known for?
Turning out first-class students, first-class young adults as they go from middle school to high school to college and into their adult, that this will be a starting point for the rest of their lives.
The legacy, the life, and the living of Grace Snell. She has done so much for this community, and as you know, Grace Snell Middle School is named in her honor. And we just want to celebrate her as her birthday, September the 5th, is nearing. We really want to promote that legacy in our school, with our students, with our parents, and with our community in general.